Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you are a relentless builder, tinkerer, or researcher eyeing the AI space right now, you are exactly where you need to be. We're diving into some of the most elite, exclusive AI residencies and internships opening up for the 2026 cycle. And let me tell you, the opportunities here, they are absolutely massive. We're talking annualized base salaries hitting $220,000. That's a whole lot of energy drinks, right? These labs are aggressively hunting for talent today, so grab a notepad and get ready. Let's get into it. Here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the shifting AI landscape. Then, we'll dive into non-traditional AI fast tracks, followed by the elite academic AI internships. And finally, we'll break down the exact builder's mindset you need to actually land these spots.
All right, Section 1, the shifting AI landscape.
So the current AI boom is moving at absolute breakneck speed, right? It's all being driven by transformer architectures and this massive parameter scaling. The tech is evolving so incredibly fast that the old hiring rules, they're basically becoming obsolete overnight. There's this fantastic quote from our source material written by a super sharp 18-year-old AI developer named Rajarshi Hub. He hits the nail on the head, saying, Silicon Valley giants aren't just hunting for traditional software engineers anymore. They are aggressively seeking out relentless builders, tinkerers, and researchers. It's kind of wild to think an 18-year-old is accurately diagnosing an industry that used to completely worship at the altar of the PhD. But it's true. They don't just want someone who memorizes code. They want people who can actually scale the next generation of artificial intelligence. The paradigm shift here is just stark. The old way to break into an elite AI research lab, it used to demand a PhD and literally years of academic deep learning framework experience. But the new frontier, it's a whole different ballgame. Raw talent, an intense bias for action, and the practical hands-on ability to iterate and scale models quickly, those things are actively trumping formal credentials at some of the most innovative companies on the planet. Moving right along to Section 2, non-traditional AI fast tracks. Let's talk about a major disruptor, completely reshaping how we interact with the web. Perplexity AI. And yes, you are reading that number correctly. $220,000. That is the jaw-dropping annualized base salary for Perplexity's research and engineering residency roles. And if you lean a bit more towards product strategy, their associate product managers are pulling in $210,000, working directly alongside the founders to shape consumer AI. I mean, the compensation is staggering, but the expectations are just as high.
So who exactly is Perplexity paying this kind of money to? Well, they take the traditional PhD playbook and just toss it completely out the window. No specific degree required. Instead, they are hunting for exceptional individuals from literally any discipline. What you absolutely must have is a rock-solid mathematical foundation, deep technical fluency, and an unrivaled work ethic. You've also got to be ready to pack your bags and move to the Bay Area, though good news, they do sponsor visas.
Now, if you actually make the cut, the day-to-day is intense. We're talking 0 side projects allowed, period. Every single hour is dedicated to hard, critical problems that directly advance their core mission, no distractions. In return, you get paired up with senior researchers and are handed just massive computational resources to scale their models. It is a pure, unadulterated sprint. Okay, before we jump to our next disruptor, we really need to understand a critical concept here, AI alignment. Basically, this is research focused on evaluating models, ethics, scalable mitigations, and agentic oversight to make sure AI operates safely. This is the absolute bleeding edge of ensuring these incredibly powerful systems actually do what we want them to do, without any crazy unintended consequences. And OpenAI is making a massive push right into this with their safety fellowship running right alongside their legendary 6-month residency program. Their criteria is fascinating. They want independent researchers, engineers, and hackers. They demand this really unusual level of self-direction and the ability to build functional prototypes rapidly. Oh, and here is the kicker for the residency. You cannot be actively enrolled in school. Nope. They want you full-time, dropped directly onto the frontier of AI research. And naturally, they compensate accordingly. OpenAI residents typically pull in around $18,000 to $20,000 per month. Plus, they provide extensive compute support and API credits. It's essentially an intensive acceleration program designed to take incredibly talented builders and hand them the keys to the kingdom, giving them everything they need to push the boundaries of what AI can actually do. Okay, let's switch gears. Section 3, Elite Academic AI Internships. We've talked about the disruptors. Now let's look at the traditional titans, starting with a core focus over at Meta, ASIC validation. This is the rigorous process of testing and optimizing the custom chips that power massive data centers. Why does this matter to you? Well, because to handle the traffic of billions, literally billions of daily users, you need infrastructure that is optimized all the way down to the silicon. AI isn't just software in the cloud, it is heavily reliant on highly specialized hardware. When you compare Google and Meta side by side, you see some very distinct technological focuses. Google leans heavily into pure academic research through DeepMind and Google Research, tackling things like natural language processing, computer vision, robotics, and AI for social good. Meta, on the other hand, is making this aggressive, massive push into open source AI with their Llama ecosystem, huge infrastructure scaling, and, like we just talked about, custom silicon. Two very different flavors of elite engineering. If you want to go the Google route, their student researcher program is essentially the gold standard for academic engagement. They want students actively enrolled in a bachelor's, master's, or PhD program in computer science, math, or something similar. You need rock-solid technical skills in languages like Python, C++, Java, or Go. And they heavily prefer candidates who have already published papers in major conferences. This is a 12 to 24-week engagement pushing the algorithmic foundations of AI, paying around $8,000 to $10,000 or more a month. Over at Meta, their summer internships have equally rigorous but slightly different eligibility requirements. They want active students in electrical engineering, computer engineering, or CS. You've got to have strong fundamentals in computer architecture and logic design. Crucially, though, Meta requires you to have the intent to return to your degree program after the internship ends. They compensate incredibly well, too. We're talking $8,500 to $11,000 a month, and they even throw in generous corporate housing and travel coverage, the whole shebang.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the builder's mindset.
Look, knowing these programs exist is one thing. Actually landing them is a completely different story. A 4.0 GPA, it just won't cut it anymore. When you look at these programs side by side, from Perplexity's full-time hardcore hacker ethos to Meta's hardware-heavy summer sprint, one thing becomes crystal clear. You have to bring immense, undeniable, practical value to the table. So what does bringing that value actually look like? Well, look back at the author of our source material, Rajarshi Hub. He didn't just study AI concepts in a vacuum. He got his hands dirty. He wrote and published a digital book called AI-Powered Teaching. He scaled his own business operations. He literally built a fully automated central inbox command center to execute his marketing strategies. Guys, this is undeniable proof that an insatiable curiosity and a bias for action is what actually wins. How do you cultivate this mindset for yourself? Well, here is your exact actionable playbook. Step 1, optimize your portfolio today. Make sure it reflects what you can actually build, not just what you studied. Step 2, build a complex AI project from scratch. Prove that you can solve hard, messy problems. Step 3, contribute to open source repositories. Get your code out there in the wild for people to see. You absolutely have to stand out as a self-starter who never, ever waits for permission to create. These massive opportunities for 2026 are officially on the table. And as we've seen throughout this explainer, the industry is just incredibly hungry for pure, unrelenting talent. They don't want passive learners anymore. They want active builders who are ready to scale the future right now. So I'll leave you with this final, absolutely crucial question to think about. With all this on the line, what will you build next? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.